Greetings, PPLZs. Sardonic Media here. Cheers. So, I just got back from seeing the film The Grey, starring Liam Neeson, and I'm going to call it, Liam Neeson has finally washed the stink of Qui-Gon Jinn from his career. Admittedly, even in the case of Qui-Gon Jinn, he did a very good, he did the best job he possibly could have at portraying Qui-Gon Jinn. Like that you can't fix that role. You can't fix that movie. It's just royally broken. But he did the best job he possibly could have, and it's very nice to see him in working with a screenplay that doesn't suck ass. In fact, it's very good. I initially gave this movie a 7.5 walking out of the theater. Ruminating on it, I'm going to have to give it an 8. And it's only dropped down from a 9 because of its major plot hole that for some reason just really bothered me, and I'll talk about that later, but that's only in for the spoiler section. And yes, this movie has been done before. Specifically, one of the movies I'm thinking of that's just this movie is The Edge, starring Anthony Hopkins. The film The Edge is about how Anthony Hopkins survives in this wilderness, and it's a fun story. Note, I say it's a fun story. It's about how he survives, how he thinks his way through, how he overcomes his problems. That's not this movie. This movie is much darker. Instead about being how a couple of, actually Anthony Hopkins is the only one in that group. Well, there's Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins, and the wheelchair guy from Oz is in that group. And, yeah. Anyway, this movie is more about how men face death. Like how men face a soul-crushing situation. And it's really interesting to see. I was amazed at the acting skill of the no-name actors. All the secondary, the backup guys. Liam Neeson is definitely the star of the show. Liam Neeson is obviously the best guy there, but everyone else is no slouch either. Like I would be happy to see any of these men star in another movie. That's how strong the acting is. Like I said, it's a very dark, very tense film. There's no point in the film where you don't feel tense, where you don't feel connected to the characters and you don't feel their fear. Now, like, this is important because, admittedly, the CG on some of these wolves is kind of bad. Like, it's just not believable in a few areas, and it's just like, this is crap. But like, unlike, it's not terrible. It's just, I have seen better. It's like, if you ever seen Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, those apes are clearly not apes, and you can kind of, they look very realistic, but your brain knows they're not apes. Like, they are computer generated. The movie's kind of like that with the wolves, and I hope I'm not scaring you away from the movie. That was kind of a minor problem for me. Where the film kind of falls down is in probably the last, well over where half the movie is done. And this is where I'm getting into spoiler territory, so I'm not going to say anything else about the movie. I'm just going to complain about its major problems. So shut off this review right now if you want to see it. And I do recommend it. Okay. At one point, they have to get down this sheer cliff, this sheer rock face, and they're just at the tree line. So Liam Neeson comes up with a brilliant idea of running and jumping on to grab a tree and using this like homemade rope to so that people can pull themselves across on, and the rope I call bullshit on. I'd prefer a Deus Ex Machina rope. Like, okay, the rope was on the plane. Why do you have a rope on a plane? It was on the plane. Shut up. Deus Ex Machina rope. Instead, it's sort of a mix between that and seatbelts and and clothing. Like, no, doofus, that rope is gonna split. That is bullshit. That rope is going to fall apart. Are you? It was just no. It was not doable. And I also thought what they were going to do is pull the tree closer to them. I think you can do that. I'd have bought it. But instead, no, they were just going to pull themselves apart across it. And I don't know how they fastened the damn thing. That was bullshit. And what's probably the most bullshit was, like, at this point, they're being chased by this group of wolves. And the wolves are out to kill them because they're violating the wolves' territory. These are like really fucking pissed off wolves. I remember someone reviewing, actually a comedian, bitching about Jaws for the Revenge, in which a woman's entire family is stalked by Jaws, and she has an affair with Michael Caine, and I think Michael Caine comes up with it, or maybe, I don't know, whatever. They come up with the idea, instead of just moving further inland, to go to the other coast, like go from the east coast to the west coast, or west coast to east coast, I don't give a shit. And the shark beats them there. Like, that's sort of what happens. One guy, he fucks up, crawling across the thing, he falls down the tree. It's a really sad death scene. It's really horrible. This movie's fucking graphic. Then the wolves just descend on him and just eat him. Well, eat him. They just tear him apart because the wolves are just out to kill them. One by one for some reason. I don't know why they don't just kill them all at once, but they don't. Anyway, so I just kept sitting there thinking, wait, did those wolves have a magic clothing rope too? Can wolves climb down a sheer rock face? Did the wolves know that they were about to cross that sheer cliff and somehow figure it out and run all the way around to where they could get down that area and wait for them? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. The wolves later come back in the film, and honestly, the movie would have been so much better if they laid off that. If they just saved the wolves for the very end. Like, oh my god, they found us. I don't know how, but they found us. That sort of shit. Not this, oh my god, these wolves are fucking psychic. Why are these fucking wolves psychic? Because that was bullshit. I don't know, maybe they're pulling like a Lost thing and all these men are dead. But that's not really what's going on. Anyways, it was a very good movie, in spite of my complaint there. Actually, I just want to bring up this. Does anyone remember Naked Gun? Like when Frank Drebin shoots that guy and he falls off, like with his little stun gun out of his watch, and then he falls off the several-story building, and everyone's like, before that everyone's like, oh no, you killed him. Like, no, I just stunned him. And then he falls off the building. And they're like, oh shit, he just splat. Oh god. And then he gets run over by a car, and then run over by another car, and then run over by a steamroller, and then run over by a marching band. That's sort of what that felt like to me. Like, the guy had his death. Falling from the top of the tree line, that's death enough, okay? He's dead. Accept it. Deal with it. I was happy with his death. I didn't really need anything other than that. Anyway, Sardonic Media, in spite of all this, I still give The Grey an 8. Go see it. It's good. If for no other reason, the acting is just too strong. Cheers.